Our President Trump's tax and spending cut bill now a reality after the president signed into law on July 4th. Here to share the biggest changes that could impact your wallet, financial instructor Michael Masserant from the Retirement Education Foundation. Michael, they call this the big beautiful bill, and it is very big.
Yeah, it's huge. It's almost 900 pages of legal text. It's a massive, massive bill they signed into law.
How does that even get worked out financially to trickle down to people like you and me?
It takes a lot of time. I mean, we're still waiting on the IRS and the White House for some official legalization of some of the different text and how it's going to flow through to the IRS code. So there's a lot of things that are hammered out already, but we're still waiting on a couple of things here.
One of the big things is the tax cuts from the first administration, Trump 1 and Trump 45. Those are extended and permanent.
Yeah, those are permanent now. And that's really one of the biggest things here is that the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, that was due to sunset in 2025, meaning if they had not passed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, or the OBBBA, as they call it, then all those tax cuts that we had in 2017 would have gone away and taxes would have gone up starting in 2026. So that keeps these tax cuts permanent. Along with that, along with the permanent tax cuts, we're seeing a couple additional tax savings for seniors specifically. Seniors are getting a $6,000 additional deduction on their income, and we're also seeing an increased child tax credit of $2,500 per child for a child tax credit.
So for the seniors, let me stick with that for a minute, because a lot of people, heard the no tax on Social Security. That's not what this is. This is a deduction.
Correct. So they weren't able to swing the no taxes on Social Security. There's a lot of political back and forth there. So what they tried to do instead is they tried to increase the standard deduction so that at this point, roughly 80 to 85% of people will not be paying taxes on Social Security, not because the Social Security is tax-free, but because the standard deduction helps them pay less taxes on their income overall.
Talk to me about the SALT deduction. What does that mean to the average person?
Yeah, so SALT, S-A-L-T, stands for state and local taxes. And for a long time, the SALT deduction was a $10,000 cap, meaning if you paid over $10,000 in state and local taxes, you could only deduct $10,000 off of your income. Well, that SALT deduction is going up to $40,000. And so now if someone pays a lot of state taxes or local taxes, they can have a larger deduction now on their income.
Some other changes included in this act, a reduction, reduced Medicaid and SNAP spending. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so this was one of the big political fights here is in order to sort of pay for these tax cuts. So this is roughly a $4.5 trillion tax cut over the next 10 years or so. And to try to pay for those tax cuts, because we have a national deficit, the give back here was the cutting some benefits to the Medicaid and SNAP programs. So they're now requiring roughly 80 hours a month of work to qualify for Medicaid and SNAP programs. And there's been a lot of debate and fighting between Republicans and Democrats on that, but that was one of the ways they're trying to pay for the tax cuts, is eliminating some of these expenses somewhere else in the government.
So how could these changes impact consumers and the economy? I feel like time will tell on a lot of this stuff, but nonetheless, that information, those studies are out there.
Yeah, so big picture, the goal, the thought process is if Americans are paying lower taxes, they can go spend more money. Spending more money stimulates the economy, grows the economy, and that means that overall, if there's more spending, more jobs created, more GDP growth in the country, overall, that will increase the tax revenue for the government. So it's almost like an addition by subtraction kind of approach. And it has worked in the past. It's also gone not as well in the past. So we'll see how this one goes.
No doubt. All right, you are coming back in the next hour. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. How could that affect Michigan workers?
For sure, with an asterisk. Everything this bill is an asterisk. Right. There's a lot of stuff.
Exactly.
That sunsets goes away after a while, so we'll talk about it.
For now.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. Michael, thanks so much. If you want more from Michael, refedu.org. Plenty of great resources on there, free materials as well, worksheets and everything like that. Retirement Education Foundation. We will be right back.